I just want to give you guys some tips to help gear up and everything like that. Um, for a while there, I was #1 gear score on NA, and you can see here right now I'm #2 if I have my hero cloak on. But I use a two-hander, so it lowers my gear score overall, so other people are able to be more competitive against me. I also don't have a full set of library gear, so that also reduces my gear score. But anyways, couple big things you need to know if you want to be one of the top geared players on the new Southeast Asia server. #1, honor. You need tons and tons of honor. There's no Halcyona. You will not be able to do Red Dragon. So you need to get as much honor as possible and as early as possible. Alright, so if you look here, I made this spreadsheet forever ago. It's still usable. But CR gives 900 honor, and then GR gives 900 honor, Aegis and Wellsong both give 1800 honor. And if you haven't played in a while, there's actually now a tier 2 version of CR and GR. And so basically, after the hounds are dead, it summons a tower. And you have to DPS this tower in order to start the phase 2. Alright, so this tower has a ton of health, and it takes additional damage from siege damage. So if you can get a clad, which I have here, the mortar, I'm sorry, it's the technical name of the one I have, 500 gilda, and just the basic shot right here, it does damage cap 150,000 per hit. So if you do want to start doing these early, you definitely want to go rush a tank. Now, for the west, there are some tricks. If CR, for example, if CR is on the beach, you can actually summon boats on there and shoot it. If it's on the north, you can summon boats up here to shoot the tower. The phase 2 CR and GR isn't honestly that hard. So the main thing is it's a DPS race to kill the tower, and you need siege equipment to do it. And if you do it for GR, well, for both of them, basically you get 30 blue infusions. And these blue infusions are really good nowadays because you can no longer convert green infusions into blue infusions unless you have a castle. You used to be able to do it up here near Misong dungeon. There used to be a workbench, but they removed it from there. And so now it is only from castles. So your blue infusions, the only way you're either getting them is your WHM weeklies, tier 2 CRGR, and then the very last way to get it is if you actually want to do this early, by the way, if possible. Drill Camp. Drill Camp gives 5 blue infusions per win or 3 blue infusions for loss. So regardless, it's good to queue it. Also, another tip about infusions and stuff like that. Whenever you're doing the Hiram weeklies for Reedwind, Sungold, and Xlock, always choose the scrolls. You can get so many green infusions from other things that you never need the green infusions from these. Alright, so I have a spreadsheet here. Help you guys out with some of the infusion issues. Rift bosses, those are the bosses that spawn at war, like Halcyona, Hellswamp, Sandeep, and Carcass. Same thing on the east. Those are the rift bosses I'm talking about. Doing the quest gives you 2 green infusions. CR gives you 9. GR gives you 9. Valheim City gives you 20. This is max reward. And then the Yennefer and Cinder War, these are 24 for win, 20 for second place. And this is repeatable. You can't get this every single time it goes to war. So this is where you're going to be getting a ton of green infusions. And then next, if you're your blue infusions, since you can't convert them anymore at Misong Summit, you used to be able to convert 40 to 10 before, but now you can only convert at the castle. So drill camps, the drill camp arena, you can get 5 per win or 3 per loss, or maximum 25 per day. That's without using resets. You want to start doing drill camp arenas as early as possible if you want to have high gear score. Once you can start doing the phase 2 on the CR and GR, you can get an extra 30 per. And that's actually huge. So you want to build clads, like if possible. And then WHM, if you really want, you can get infusions here. But a lot of times you will want to pick up scrolls for that one. Also, going back over honor, so you get 900 honor from doing CR, 900 from doing GR. That's just at phase 1. Once you can do phase 2, you get quite a bit more. From Aegis, you get 1800. Wellsong, you get 1800. And then also, if you do the Rift bosses, right here, and the conflict zones once they go to war, the boss gives 200 honor, and then the quest afterwards gives you an extra 300 honor. So it is quite good to go do the world bosses on cooldown. And also, even like other world bosses like Joel and Mana Glen, those give 200 honor each. Like all the world bosses from having the Arch Pass buff gives you the 200 honor. And you're going to need tons and tons of honor. Also, Yennefer and Cinder, they both give the wars. They both give 800 honor each. Valheim City gives you 1500 honor if you get 190 refugees in. Also, with this buff here, we now get 52 honor for a player kill rather than the old 40 honor per kill. So you're going to want to do a lot of PvP and a lot of PvP early. In fact, if you guys were around when I was streaming whenever the North American server was launched, I didn't rush max level. I PvP'd. Alright, so here's what the tower looks like for phase 2 on CR and GR. It's both basically the same thing. Now, you want to summon your mortar or your clad at a higher elevation. That way you can hit the damage cap. Right, you see right here, 150k. And this is with having an epic cannon. If I was same elevation, I'd be doing 135,000 per hit. Alright, so for GR there's 2 portals. So if you take the yellow one or the orange one, however your graphics settings are set up, this one will give you a different quest than the green one. Alright, so this one, it gives you a bag of Spirit Glow Lunarite. It gives you somewhere between 6 to 9 Spirit Glow Lunarite, and also about like 10 to 15 gold or so. Whereas the green one, if you take that portal, it gives you 10 blue infusions. Also, unfortunately, you cannot get the reward for both of them a day. You have to do one or the other. And whenever you take the portal, that's whenever you're given like the quest. Well, you have to take the portal, then hit a mob. But for one of the things we used to do is if there's too many players and we both want to get the reward from the yellow, that one of the raids will take the portal to from the yellow one, and then they'll actually like physically run to the other mobs, which I can show you on the mini map real quick for that. So we're right here. The other mob's going to be right over here. These players, they're running to the portal, but it doesn't matter. Just extra loading time. And you definitely want to like do this as early as possible. It will be a huge help for your faction to help them gear up. Being able to get, potentially 50 to 60, extra blue infusions a day. It's quite massive, especially if you're talking on a scale of, 100 or more people. Alright, and another tip, you're going to want to PvP as much as possible, especially early on, because you're going to want to gem out as soon as you can. Now, a tip to help you PvP early on in the lower levels, if you type in 3 here, at the very bottom, you'll see the Equipment Awakening Scrolls. So you could actually remake all of your gear. Reason why you want to do this is because the higher gear is much more expensive to gem rather than if you gem at the Explorer's level. For example, for my legs here, the last 2 gem slots cost me 30 gold, and the one before that was 20 gold. Whereas if I gem that at like higher level, then I'm paying hundreds of gold per gem slot at that point. So this will save you a ton of money. So for me, I actually took my starter level Hiram gear all the way up to tier 1 Celestial with no gems. And then I made new pieces gear one at a time. New Explorer gear one at a time. And then I fed my old pieces into my new pieces. And the gem, I'm sorry. So the scrolls, they cost me about 20 gold on my server. And then feeding the old piece of gear into the new piece brought it very close. It saved about 80% or so of the experience that I spent on it. And it cost about 100 gold per piece of gear. Which I valued having, tier 1 celestial gear. It did make me money. Allowed me to farm easy. And then it allowed me to PvP as well, early game. So I did consider it a benefit to actually take my gear up and then completely replace it. Also, another tip that you guys need to know, once you hit level 30, you can actually take your Explorer level gear all the way up to tier 3 unique. And this will help you a lot once you get to like Halcyon, killing mobs and stuff, and even killing players. It's going to be a lot better. It only costs a couple gold, and normally just from your quest gold, as you level up, you should be able to get a weapon, at least. You might be able to get some pieces as well. So basically, you can buy armor and weapons from these guys right here. The armor merchant, the armor merchant and the weapon merchant. So, for example, I can buy a two-hander, and then I can choose the one I want. Let's say, I'm a mage, so I'd choose staff. And then I go over to the general merchant, and he sells infusions and awakening scrolls that I need for explorer level stuff. So this brings it up like the awakening scrolls right here, and then here's the infusions that I can like skip. Like I don't have to wait for the quest, because normally to have this level gear, you'd have to do Halcyon, Hellswamp, Sandeep, and you'd have to go over here to Rookborn, then Windscore, and you normally get around there. Whenever you get like this quality gear. But you can bypass all that and just infuse your gear up doing this way. If you played a long time ago, there's an item called Adventure's Evenstone. Those don't exist anymore. You don't need them. You can just buy these right here. Alright, so my keybinds aren't really set up here, but I really like leveling as a spell slinger. One, because you have songs. So you're much faster than everyone. You can either run away from a fight or you can run into a fight. Like chase people down if you needed. And also to help like dismount people, if you don't have a mount that has a stun on it, you can actually use the Overwhelm. The Overwhelm actually dismounts players, even though there's no like tooltip or anything on there. Alright, and another combo, a very simple, it's just backdrop and fireballs. It makes your fireballs instant cast. It's like your bread and butter of the spell slinger. And then there's always the good old arc lightning. Now when you're leveling, it'll be a lower level, so you're going to be casting arc lightning a lot faster than that. And even at low levels, if you have a unique tier 3 weapon, you will most likely be one-shotting people once you get to Halcyon. Especially if you apply a fire debuff on it, because it gives it a damage boost. Alright, so the spell slinger is pretty good for leveling. However, once you get max level, you're probably going to want to play some of the Malediction. A lot of people don't have gear, and a lot of people focus on the weapon early for some reason. And Malediction does a lot of AoE damage, and it is great for farming honor in raid versus raids. Alright, so a lot of people have asked me, the combos for Malediction, and eventually I do want to make a video, like going over like full things for mages, like a full like guide for mages, but for this one, I'm just going to go over a couple of the simple ones. So one of the simple things to do is, if you look here, this is your Fury, and you want to build it. So right here I'm playing with Flame version of Bladefall and the Flame version of Serpent's Bite. That way they only cost 5 charges. That way I can get 3 stacks very easy. And once you have 3 stacks, that's when you just kind of transition into your lasers. This spec of Spiritualist, it doesn't have a lot of like naturally high attack speed, so the lasers aren't as good for it, but the Spiritualist is good for another combo. So next thing I want to go over, this is another easy combo, is if you haven't played in a while, this is like new to you. So I press my Fury. My Fury now gives me five charges instantly. And then next, if I press the dice, the Void Surge, it's now a forward teleport, and it now gives me an additional 5 stacks if I have a Fury on. So that means I have 10 stacks from just these two, which means I can shoot out a full 10 stack Lion. And then on top of it, if I monobolt, after I use the Void Surge, it shoots out a third Lion. So I can show you real quick what it actually looks like. So Fury, Dice, Lions, and Monobolts. So it sends out 3 Lions. This is really good opener in a raid versus raid situation. Alright, and then lastly, this is the standard Spiritualist Combo, and this is why it's so good. So you're going to want to... I'll run it down real quick. It's Fury, and then I teleport so I can get within kind of like close range. Because I want to be like in melee range for just a split second. So Fury, teleport, Blade Fall on the biggest clump that you see. God's Whip, Vicious Implosion, God's Whip, Freezing Earth, God's Whip, teleport to my magic circle back. And I'll just do a quick little play on it real quick. So Fury, teleport in, then get kind of close where you will need to go. Blade Fall, Vicious, Freezing Earth, and you're spamming God's Whip in this whole time. And then you teleport back out so you don't die. And that is what the Spiritualist is all about. And a lot of people ask me, well, can you play this with dual wield? I mean, technically you can, but the two-hander brings a lot of damage to the table, a lot of bursty damage. And this is why the two-hander, goes really well with the Spiritualist combo. Alright, and just to recap on it real quick, to shoot 3 Lions, you're going to be doing Fury, Dice, Lions, Monobolts. Also, a lot of people ask me about the Ancestrals for Malediction, and so basically Monobolts, and the reason why, it does more damage over the Wave Monobolts. A lot of people, especially new mages, they play Wave Monobolts not understanding because it looks like it does more damage, but this one actually hits 4 times, whereas this one hits 3. So, and you want to do this for 2 reasons. 1, it hits more times, so it actually does more damage. And then 2, whenever you're doing your Fury, like if I press Fury and 1 Monobolts, that's 10 stacks because it hits 4 times. And so it allows me to do my combos so much easier. If I play with the other version, it only hits 3 times, so it doesn't give me full stacks, and it makes things very, very weird. I play with the Flame version of Bladefall and the Flame version of Serpent's Spite. And the reason for that is when I have 10 stacks of Fury, it's boom, boom, I can pop both of them at the same time. Sometimes in PvP, you can't really generate Fury all that much. Sometimes, you're too far from your target or you're CC'd or something. So it is nice to be able to hit, both of these immediately together if needed. There are some PvE situations, long fights, like for example the dog, which is in a Hereafter Rebellion. It is actually better to play with like your basic versions because cooldowns. If you play with the Flame version and you're in long fights, your Fury comes up before these two come up if you play with the Flame versions. It kind of makes the cooldowns kind of weird for long fights. Alright, and then going back to the combos, the Spiritualist combo is Magic Circle into Fury into Teleport because you want to be in melee range. Because your Vicious Implosion on yourself, right? So you need to be on top of the biggest cluster that you see. Right, so teleport into the cluster, and then Bladefall, and Bladefall has like a second and a half or 2 seconds before it starts dropping. And also, if you look very close, I need to explain this about Bladefall. Bladefall animation, it looks like that. It's a big circle. But if you actually look at these, the very last hit, that's actually where the impale comes from. So it's a very small circle. So you actually need to land be as precise with your Bladefall as possible. So Bladefall, God's Whip, because God's Whip is an animation cancel, and then Vicious Implosion, God's Whip again, and then Freezing Earth, God's Whip again, and then teleport back out. And then your last one, this is just how you get 3 stacks very easy, that we can transit into lasers. You'll see a lot of people just using Bladefall and Lions just even when you're not in fight, just to like maintain stacks or build stacks. And then your third way, you can also play with ring throw. It's a counter to other spiritualists. Like if you're having issues with another spiritualist, you can pick up the ring toss, and that way it actually disarms the spiritualist during their combo, which means they don't do damage because it actually um removes their like magic attack and all that damage boosted from it. They're when if you do that, they're basically doing no damage to you. It's also really good against melee too, but that one's kind of obvious. All right, and lastly, what I want to go over is how to make gold. I don't use any form of RMT. I make all my own gold, and I made the majority of my gold through coin purses. We had a ton of labor, so the silver labor really didn't matter. And if you see here, I'm no longer first place for NA. Right now I'm number 2 with my hero cloak on. With my regular cloak on, I'm number 5. But that's because these people are dual wield, and they're actually using library gear. My class doesn't really use full set library gear, so it holds me back as far as gear score output goes. But for quite a while there, I was the number 1 gear score in the North American servers. Alright, so my main ways to make money is coin purses. Had one alt for a while, and then eventually I did pick up a second alt, especially once I started working on my library gear. It is so expensive to upgrade this. Also the Noria jewelry. And then secondly, I was doing dungeons. I was one of the first people to start clearing like Abyssal Library. I was doing Mist Song every day. Also Siege Drown Love and Serpentis. Those were all pretty good money-making dungeons. And then lastly, I'm doing Silver Crates. Silver Crates the very best place to kill farm silver crates is right here. You kill the Trodons. Alright, so for coin purses, I'm now at a point where I'm farming 800 coin purses an hour. And I play Dreadrunner. You know, I have pretty good gear, so I actually like two-shot the mobs now. But I do buff up and I double pot. For loot drop in this game, you want to have pots, like loot pots on your main and on the ult to get the maximum benefit. Because loot drop is split between all the people that are in the party. Alright, so this is actually my spot that I like farming as a Dreadrunner. And I'll just clear all these mobs here and all over here. But there are some other good spots. For example, basically anywhere here in the Ruins of Hiram City. It's these mobs are instant respawn. And a lot of the mobs here are also like there's like a cluster of 3 mobs for each little grouping. Like that's the spot. There's a spot in this room here. And also over there. And then if you can't get one of these spots, there's some decent spots in this area. And East players, they like to farm over here. And if you're like really new, like if you're very low gear score, I was actually farming over here by this newbie area. There's like some wolves that don't really have attacks. You just never let the wolves get close to you. And, you know, they don't really do damage to you. Now, one thing I want to mention is if you haven't played in a while, they changed the way that coin purses and crates work in Aurora now. Remember how like Aegis and Wellsong they used to give like a lot of crates? Well, that's no longer the case anymore. All mobs in Aurora now drop majority coin purses. It's probably like I don't know 70-30 or like 80-20 coin purses to crates ratio in all zones now. So WHM farming along the beach here, like if you do a route, like you go on the beach and you go around and you just like do circles like that. It is very easy to get 700, 800 coin purses an hour, and these mobs are also quite a bit easier than doing it in WHM. Now, one of the benefits of doing WHM is you get the Awakening Scrolls. You're going to need a lot of these. I farmed these like crazy because I had very bad luck with Awakening. And when I'm farming, I have the loot settings set up a very specific way. And if you want to get coin purses on the ult, and you want to get the infusions and the the little honor gems, so they're called. They give like 50 to 100 honor or 200 honor, depending on which version you got. You know, the little vivid honor gems. You're gonna want to do this. Free for all, grand and above, not used on the dice, and then auto bid main, auto pass alt. And then the auto loot pet needs to be on the alt. Now the character and the pet need to be within 40 meters of what you kill. So this will give basically the scrolls and infusions and the other good green stuff to my main, and the alt will get the coin purses and the crates. Alright, and the only problem with this is the crates. You will want to have like crates on your main in order to get Lunar Frost and also the tempers. So eventually you will need to either go 50-50 and do like the confirmation on your main and go roll 50-50 for crates, or you can also go specifically farm for crates for your main. But unfortunately, we don't really have Aegis or Wellsong that drops a ton of crates anymore. So you will eventually just get crates and coin purses on your main when you're farming for it. Oh yeah, and very last thing about gold. These arch passes here, it costs 50 gold to do it, and early game you don't really have a lot of money. But let me tell you what, you definitely want to do it as soon as possible, because from each arch pass, each quest in the arch pass, it gives you this Gilda crate. And this Gilda crate, when you open it, gives you a gold crate right here. It gives you between 10 to 100 gold for 100 labor, and it also gives you 1 Gilda for the other thing that you opened. So these will definitely pay for themselves very, very quickly. So you want to spend, I'd honestly say spend your first 50 gold on your Arch Pass. So one thing I forgot to mention earlier is Missong Summit drops these Sunset Pearl Stones, which are needed to make the Gallant Mount. You can type it in here, you can pull up all the Gallant Mounts. You need 28 Sunset Pearl Stones, and the only place you can get these is from Missong Summit. And these mounts are a lot faster than anything you'll deal with. For example, the Snow Lion here, I recommend everyone to have Snow Lions. It's your all-around best mount. And the reason for that is it has your basic sprint like every other mount has. It has a stun, and this mount, and this is really good to attack another player that's on a mount, or to start a fight off. You have an additional stun to start a fight off with that. This one is a stealth detection, really great. This one is actually invincibility. Invincibility, all CC, all damage, all everything. So this is what ranks it really good right here. And then this one, if you're around other people that have mounts out and you press this, you're going to be one of the fastest people. Like for example, from doing the wars, once the lodestone is killed, and you run to the next one, if you pop sprint and this at the same time, you're going to be doing over 36 meters a second. And then I also gemmed it just because it does pay to be fast, it does pay to be first, and you want to be able to get away from fights, you want to be able to get into fights as soon as possible. So movement speed is a very good thing. So you want to make sure you work on the gallant mounts as soon as possible. Right now I have 3 of them. I have 2 lions and a Leomorph. The Leomorph it's not bad either. It helps me with some of the spiritualist engagements. I can go into a sprint, into a stealth, and then I can jump onto a raid like so. Alright, so that was a long video, so let's make it a little bit longer by adding in a recap. Now, if you're like me, words don't really mean much. If you add in a whole bunch of pictures, like a picture book, I got you. Alright, so first, when you're level 30, go ahead and go to the General Merchant, and you can go ahead and boost your weapon up to tier 3 Explorer level already before you even get to Halsey. And you're definitely going to want to do this. And also, whenever you get max level, you really need to focus on getting as much honor as you can early game. This way you can start gymming your gear early. And I took my gear up to Celestial Tier 1 Hiram, and then I remade every piece of gear. That way I could gym it at the Explorer level. And you can do that using these Awakening Scrolls. And then here's the honor to gem it. So I did one piece at a time. I fully gemmed it, brought it up, fed the old piece into it. Saves you thousands and thousands of gold. And here is how you buy the new gear, a weapon merchant. Alright, and then going over honor, you really want to get as much honor as you can early game in order to get ahead. Killing a player gives you 52 honor. Roboss is 200 honor. The Rift Boss quest right here is 300 honor. The Cinder Yenister War are 800, and that's repeatable. And then the CR gives you 900. GR gives you 900. Fallenheim City is 1500. Aegis is 1800. Wellsong's 1800. I didn't write this down on this list, but also if you do the Blue Salt Bonds, they do give a lot of honor. And if you start getting Yenister and Cinder War to like 3000, you'll start getting like 3 Blue Salt Bonds every time you do it. So that will really help you out too. And those quests do benefit from the honor pots. So if you have like a double event, like a CR and a Aegis happening at the same time, and you can knock that out within 30 minutes, you want to pop the honor pot. And then if you have time left over, run to your Hero Soul and turn in all your Blue Soul Bonds if possible. And then if you're not really familiar with Fallenheim City, here's the timers for everything. That will help you out. And also, going back over the CR and GR, you do want to try and get a mortar early. Killing the tower normally requires like 2 mortars, unless you have a really big like multi-raid you can kill it with. But if you only have like 1 raid and not a lot of DPS, 2 mortars does take care of it. But especially if they both have elevation damage on it. And this opens up a whole new thing, gives you more infusions and gives you a ton more honor. So being able to do the second phase for CR and GR is very beneficial early game. And then for farming honor in PvP, Spiritualist is one of the best classes to do it. Tons of AoE damage. I'm actually pretty sure it's the highest AoE damaging class in the game. But the simple combos, the triple lines, your Spiritualist combo right here, and then honestly lasers. But this one's more for new players. I mean, most people already know how to stack up their Wrathful Casting 3 stacks. And a lot of people ask me about how do I do my ability so fast with the God's Whip and the Bladefall. You just open up your options, functionality, skill deployment location. What this is basically just smart casting. Or like used to things like League of Legends. Literally just smart casting. Alright, so next up, we got the infusions. First off, always choose the blue scrolls from Reedwin, Sun Gold, and X-Lock. You get so many green infusions from other things, especially if you do all the wars. You get so many that you will never ever run out of green infusions if you always do them. Alright, so for green infusions, from the Rift Boss quest, you get 2. Not really that much, just mentioning it here though. CR gives you 9, GR gives you 9, Fallenheim City gives you 20, and if you get first place in the Yenister and Cinder War, it's 24, second place is 20. Not much of a difference. And then for blue infusions, early game, if you can start doing the drill camp arenas, it gives you 25 if you win all 5 of them. But even if you lose all 5 of them, it's still 15 blue infusions, and you're not really getting blue infusions from other things, except maybe like the WHM weekly. Early game, people won't really be able to kill the CR and GR towers. Once people can start building the mortars, you will see those dying, and you're going to see a big improvement in your gear. Instead of getting like almost no blue infusions, you're going to be getting additional 60, per day. Alright, and then lastly, gold. I know a lot of people are very confused about gold making methods. I honestly tell you from like an experienced player, honor is much harder to get than gold. Gold's expendable, you get it from so many different places, but we're going to go over some of the ways I make my gold. I stream a lot, so I don't do things like fishing or sunken chips on stream or even trade packs because I can get griefed and stuff like that, so I just avoid that. But anyways, we got so much labor. It doesn't really matter. Majority of my money came from like coin purses, so it's whatever. So first thing, spend your first 50 gold on your Arch Pass. It is a great investment. You'll be paid back very quickly. And places to farm. WHM is great for farming coin purses and also your heroic scrolls. If you're like me, I failed so many times on this server on awakening my gear. So I was in WHM farming for these scrolls like crazy. And a lot of people also ask me about the loot settings. How do I get the coin purses on my alt and the scrolls and infusions and stuff like that on my main? And here's the loot settings. So it's free for all, random buff, not used, auto bin main, auto pass alt, and the auto loot pet is going to be on my ult. I used to get asked this question maybe like 10, 20 times like a stream. Like it was a lot. All right, and then remember Whale Song and Aegis no longer drop additional crates. Everything in Royas now drops primarily coin purses. So actually, Whale Song is a really good place to farm coin purses. In fact, when I farm Whale Song, I get about 800 coin purses an hour. Same thing with WHM. Farming along that beach and doing like this like circle rotation that I have down now, like I really can consistently get 800 coin purses an hour. It's a little bit more fun than WHM to me, honestly, because WHM's kind of like stand still and boom, 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 like kind of boring. And then if you really are hard struck on gold and honor, and you're not really interested in the scrolls or the ancestral crates, ancestral coin purses. Ancestral coin purses do give you more gold than the prince coin purses, even on the silver to labor issue. It's like 20 or more than 20% higher. However, at Reedwind, you get silver crates. And when I double pot and I farm here, even at 6K gear score, I was making about 100 silver crates an hour. And when I'm also double potting, I'm getting about 4,000 to 10,000 honor per hour too, from these gems. See, there's 3 different versions of these little honor gems. There's the green one, which is 50 honor. This one's 100 honor. Then there's a purple one, which is 200 honor. And then dungeons, early game dungeons, you can make quite a bit of money, especially if you're one of the first people clearing them. The Sunglow gems on my server are selling about 120 gold early. Now they're down to like 30 gold. Like everyone can do dungeons now, but like whenever nobody can do dungeons and everyone wants to get like the Sunglow gems, like hurry up and gear up quickly. Also, the Spirit Glow Lunarite early whenever you want to like upgrade your gems using the honor method. People will need that too. So Abyssal Library drops the shard here. It's vendors for like 17.5 gold. If you get armor drops, you can get you can break it down and get an essence. Like the essence on my server actually hit up to like 40 gold. That was crazy. And then the Sunglow gem. And then I also didn't put it here, but you can also get costumes, and you can use that costume to feed into like your stat costume or undergarments or something. And like the heroic one gives you about 200 experience. So that's quite a good additional bonus. And if you're a class that uses the Abyssal Library gear, you definitely want to hard focus this, and you want to use loot pots, especially early game. You do want to try and get your full set of gear in as early as possible. All right, and then my group, we also did Mist Song Summit, and it's because we wanted the Gallop mounts. Snow Lion, here's all the mats to make it. Snow Lion's very fast. So, I mean, there's other Gallop mounts in there, like Archers, definitely want to get the Elk. But generally speaking, the Lion is all around a good mount. So Sunset Portal Stones, which you need to make the Gallop mount. Only place to get it is Mist Song Summit. If you do normal mode or hard mode, you can get, it does drop armor, so you can get the essence from it. If you do on easy mode, it drops weapons. And then also the bosses drop Sunglow gems. Seedron Love, 100% drop rate on Sunglow gem, 100% drop rate on a piece of armor, and 100% drop rate on Seafoam. Seafoam right here sells for 35 gold, or if you get 35 of them, you can make a pink dolphin. You can buy a specific buyer. It's kind of hard to find that because it's kind of a niche item, but sometimes those will sell a good amount. And then there's Serpentis. Serpentis, the first boss drops a piece of pet gear, and then the second boss drops a box of potions and food. Third boss drops armor and weapons, so you can break down the crystals. And then last boss drops, an item that you can vendor for 5 gold and also can drop a Sunglow gem. Alright, and then last, I didn't really mention Gilda earlier, but I did sell my Gilda in order to funnel like gold into my gear. Thatch I was selling for like 900 early game, but after, land came out and everyone had Gilda, like excess Gilda, the price of this drops a lot. But Thatch I was selling for like 900, Lusong Junks I was selling for like 2,000, and same thing with Timber Coop here. Alright, so I know this video is long, and I really hope this helps you guys out, and yeah, I will see you around, okay?